Today I'm here to discuss with you scrying, or crystal gazing. So, let's indeed discuss the fine art of gazing into crystal balls. It all started when I was a little guy. I remember when I was 13 and I had gone to a mall close to our home called Roosevelt Field. And I remember going down the escalator in Macy's and I espied in the distance a crystal ball. It was clear, it was stunning, and in those days you did not see them around like you do now. Now they're paperweights, now they're everywhere, now they're even used by the mediocre that don't really get anything esoteric from them. But in those days, you could not find them unless you went to some specialty shop in Manhattan. Anyway, I'm going down the escalator, and there on the counter at Macy's is this crystal ball. I couldn't believe my eyes. So here, this little kid who took the bus by himself there buys this $3 crystal ball. I still have it in my bedroom. I didn't even want it part of the tablescape here today because it's so unique and so special to me. It's created so many visions just for me that, well, you know, it's a personal thing. But let me explain what we do with other crystals of this nature. Now, the art itself is called scrying. So it's indeed looking into these quartz, sometimes lead crystal, sometimes acrylic, sometimes hematite or selenite balls. And what happens is, due to refractions, reflections, and rainbows, you start to get images and visions. Imagine, if you would, it's similar to looking up at the clouds. You look at the clouds and you see obvious visions, and sometimes people next to you will say, I don't see it, but more often than not, people will see exactly what you're describing when they look clearly enough. It's the same thing with crystals. More than one person can indeed get the same visage that you're getting. People from time immemorial, since antiquity, have used scrying as a as a modality to premonate, to take a look into the future, to sometimes get a sense of where things are or where someone is. Probably all of us Americans were very impressed with The Wizard of Oz back in the old days, seeing that movie, even as kids, us kids on television, or our parents in the movie theater in the 1940s, or beyond, or grandparents. But that the Wicked Witch with that fantastic crystal ball that was so big, picking up Auntie M, saying, Dorothy, Dorothy, and that effect almost that it looks like it picks up MTV and the Home Shopping Club and everything else. So there's always been that mythology that comes with scrying, that those that have that kind of wisdom are able to pick up a vibrational field from these objects, and it's so very true. It can be done. I remember my great-grandmother from Lithuania, and Lithuanians are famous for their hand-blown crystal balls. I have some of them here on the table today. It's some of my favorite glass in the world, and they use a lot of lead in those crystals. They use quartz in those stones, but I've had those guys since I was a kid. My great-grandmother had her crystal balls set up on the mantle of her fireplace in Woodhaven, and it's just not something you forget, because they were beautiful. She loved them, and I was very intrigued with the way they picked up the light. People in antiquity would take bowls of water, fill them with a black ink, or dye them with a black ink, and it was the reflection of this pond of black ink that they would meditate into and see visions. But I've always been attracted to spheres. I find them to be very potent. I remember a gentleman, an Aquarian I loved very much, a very metaphysical dude, Dr. Steve Angel. He's passed away, but I remember when he came once for a reading at my home, the first thing he was struck by is he said, Daniel, your home is filled with so many orbs. He was one of the first person to ever mention that everything in the house was so very circular. These energy fields, I have to admit, they're very feminine, but it's the feminine energy field by which the subconscious really comes through, the greater intuitive vibrational fields. What I like to do, though, of course, is add that yin-yang balance. So there you've got the totally yin circular energy of the crystal ball, but you've got it placed on something, dare I say, phallic, angular, or just simply more yang. It complements your crystal balls. Now again, the concern would be, well, why would you do this in the first place? Sometimes, and I find this is sometimes even the main reason I do it, is to find lost objects, even sometimes lost people, lost children, and especially lost pets. I had a woman this winter, June, here in town that I live. She was distraught beyond belief because her cat got away this winter. Now, in the Northeast this winter, the precipitation was out of this world. This was more snow than I remember since I was a little boy when we used to play with snow forts. I mean, this was big this year. It was overwhelming snow. But she couldn't find her cat for, it was about 2 weeks. Everyone thought that cat had to be dead. But I took a crystal ball, and I have this way of projecting into it where this animal is. And although with my broken hip at the time, I couldn't just run out there and go looking for this little kitty in the snow. But what I was able to project is, you know where your home is. Go back to your home. Find your home. You're lost in the snow blind, but you can find it. You can smell it. Pick up your senses. And then she calls me the next day and says, her cat's returned. She was blown away. Worse for wear and tear, but okay ultimately after some cleaning and some food. And I'm sure it was the result of scrying, or projecting energy into, of all things, crystal balls. Decades ago, I managed Instant Karma, a very famous New Age store. And I really loved my work a lot there because I could do readings and I could direct people to the best crystals and incense and pendulums. I was thinking of jewelry, anything that really needed it, that had metaphysical content to it. But I remember as a gift, Kat, the owner of the store, the visionary, the Leo, was kind enough to give me what I think is one of the best gifts I ever got. It was a beautiful quartz ball, and truly quartz is the best of the crystals. Surrounded in this beautiful rubber encasement in sterling that I could wear around my neck, which I do from time to time when I'm going somewhere and I need to pick up a vibe. I need to know sometimes as a barometer, where am I? What are the energy fields around me? What is the crystal picking up? So it's nice to have an actual crystal ball that's small enough. I couldn't wear this baby around my neck, although knowing me, I probably could. But having something small enough that you could wear around your neck and have with you, as like we said before, as really a pretty good barometer of what the vibrational fields are around you. Now, although I do like spheres a lot because they are reminiscent to me of the drop in the ocean and the ocean and the drop. So I'm very fond of them. I'll go for them first, but I have no problems with something that has an angular energy field to it. This is a quartz point in a beautiful base. This very metaphysical gentleman put this together for me. But my God, the mirrors, the refractions, the rainbows, and usually an owner of a crystal will see over the course of years, you'll be the creator of the rainbows. You'll be the reason these refractions occur. Over time, rainbows will emerge as a way of letting you know that they're responding to your energy fields. So these fractures and little energies will start to create color. And again, that's where you can start to pick up the other side. You can start to get messages. You can hear things. I've seen movement in crystals. I've seen people I mean, I could go on and on. I've seen people at restaurant tables having a conversation via a crystal, and it's blown me away what kind of detail you can see. So, think in terms of getting into a very deep meditative state. Think in terms of being very calm. Think in terms of being in a very gentle, focused, serene space that you can possibly be in. This is fortuitous and auspicious for vision. And you could use a bowl of water. You don't need a crystal ball. You could color that water with a deep energy field. You could use a black bowl filled with water. But you'll get visions if your third eye energy is open up enough. And you can use other crystals as well. It doesn't have to be lead crystal and it doesn't have to be quartz, although those are premier. You could use selenite, which has a very pure white light and does indeed emanate glow. It's very, I'd say it's like the pearl of Venus. But it's an optical stone, so it's got that kind of effect that promotes vision. You could use hematite. It might be pure iron, and some might say because it's more Plutonian ruled, maybe it's going to allow you to see perhaps a bit of a more darker vision like the dark crystals, but at the same time, it's got highly reflective properties. So you can not only see yourself in the imagery, but you can pick up the energy fields that are around you that normally would be unseen by you, and yet the hematite is reflecting the spirits that are with you, the energies that surround you. That's important. And I would even go so far as to say, let's not neglect even mirrored energy fields, balls of mirrors. These reflective energies are also important. You can see visions in them. You can pick up faces in them. Just like you can almost, even let's say in a crack in a wall, everyone can say, I see a face in that. That happens a lot in things like mirrored glass or wells. So I would say experiment. Get yourself in that serene, balanced, meditative state and see what impressions you get from a read. But now that we've got all this crystal around us, and I've just come back from reading at the Gem and Mineral Show, I've been in the energy field of so many stones and minerals and crystals right now that I'm in like the super psychic zone. So that said, let's take advantage of the energies and do a reading. Bring on the cards. Okay, the vibes say this then too. Let's do that 3-card read that I'm so very fond of. The Shrine, the Grand Shrine. The vibes today say this, in light of a reading I did on myself and our photographer. And the vibrational fields say this today. Well, as you saw, this baby jumped out all by itself. So this is the premier energy field that wants to be mentioned first, and it says this. This is the year of the Golden Rabbit. We will not have a Golden Rabbit year in 60 more years. So, unless we all become robotic in the future, at the rate I'm going with all my hip replacements and other body parts, I wouldn't be surprised if indeed I am, my shtick will be in the future, the first robotic psychic. But no, the point is though, we're getting an alloy, we're getting gold. This is a Golden Rabbit year. They say it's going to start a little bit challengingly, but it's ultimately rather going to end quite rewardingly. So I'm delighted to start off with an alloy in an alloy year. So that said, good. Everyone's been getting it in their readings lately. I've seen it again and again and again. I probably did 45 readings this weekend. Everybody got some kind of snippet of gold. Let's take a look at the next vibe. Vibrational field number 2 says this. Okay, one word. Victory. And nobody gets a victory unless they've had a struggle. And I know we've all been through it lately, all of us. The country, the world, each one of us have been through it. This vibe is ruled by Jupiter and Leo. Jupiter rules expansion. Leo is coming around to just 2 more signs. So you give it about 6 to 8 weeks and we're in this energy field. So although it is saying 6 though, which means you feel it in June, you want it in June. But I'd imagine by the time you get to August, you're going to be able to say to yourself, I can manifest, I can reach my goals. My negotiations, my communication can proceed. My goals can be reached. Speaking of Leos, Kat, the lady I mentioned earlier who gave me this crystal, is a Leo. She's the one that manifested instant karma. I hear it may not have any more longevity soon. It's gone through many owners. But again, victory after victory. New things are created when other things sometimes disintegrate. The 3rd vibe says this. So gold, and then Leonine gold, victory? Cool. The 3rd vibrational field today says this. It's the other side. I know once in a while I've seen this appear in a couple of videos. Some of them never hit YouTube, but let's explain. The spirit world is attempting to get through to us. That's why crystal balls have always had a mysterious content to them. Sometimes people are even a bit taken aback by them, because just like in the movie The Wizard of Oz, Auntie M was able to be seen through the crystal. Where are you? Even at that haunted mansion that Disney has, there's a visage of a woman speaking through a crystal. So I know they have a history of being almost a little bit spooky, but it's true. They do attract the other side, and they're doing it right now. The painting's about 28 years old, but here's what I wrote on it. The spirits are attempting at least to come through to say to us today, I am with you. I guard your growth. Trust me, and I'll be able to help you to achieve things. I want to accompany you the rest of your life. So, that's our reading. Gold for the Golden Rabbit year. In the mundane world, the victory is ours. And that's because God is kind enough to allow the heavens to intervene on our behalf, love us, and influence our lives. Therefore, I would say, just like Danny, with all the crystals in front of me, you know what? The more the merrier, because they have a positive energy, and positivity matters to me. May your life be filled with that positive energy as well. And it was a pleasure to speak with you today.